Okay, so we're just at the end of the main session. I know Maura wants me to wrap this up quite quickly, but there's a few things I would like just to say, just from things I've heard today. I know there seems to be a lot of newcomers to this topic today, and lots of questions that have been raised, which is great. So we'll take them on board, and I think we've said we'll share a slide of what we found and the answers to it later. But it's going to help us know what better ways we can inform you to move forward on this. There's been a lot of information today to digest. I hope it's been useful and hasn't confused you. But I think it might be no harm just to go back to the three questions that I said I thought we wanted to address today. One was like, why in the first place are we even talking about e-invoicing? And for me, it's fairly simple. It's kind of the same reason why we all do our jobs in the public service, is at a very high level, we're all doing our bits and pieces to try and make Ireland better. And that's really what this is about. It's not about e-invoicing, it's not about digital. It's doing something that we think will make our country better, will make the economy better, will make our businesses more competitive, will lessen our impact on the environment. That's why Christian and Martin are roaming from country to country, and the Commission are pumping millions into supporting member states implementing this directive on e-invoicing, because they want to see Europe be better and be more competitive. And how is it doing that? Well, I think we've heard from Christian and Martin, and we've heard from Paul earlier on about the sort of range of benefits that we see at a very high level, a macro level, in terms of digital transformation, the impact on the environment. But we've also heard some really practical benefits on the ground from Mary and from Anne in terms of how it can drive efficiencies and improve processes. So the evidence is there, and it's proven. It's got a data behind it to back it up. So that's how we can make a difference with this. And I think there's been quite a few, a bit of curiosity about how many invoices we're actually receiving from suppliers. And I totally understand that. I get that. But I think at the moment the focus is actually on establishing capability. There is a legal requirement to establish the capability, but once we have a capability in place, then we can focus on actually driving the uptake with suppliers. And there are well-established supports and levers, and there's guidance we can look to from other countries about how they've approached it, that we can apply those levers and supports when the time is right and when we are actually ready to adopt e-invoicing. And I'll give you a case in point. Last January in Italy, they mandated it for the submission of invoices to government. They'd done that actually prior to that, but last year, as well as government, they mandated it for businesses to businesses. And this week they had a conference and they announced that in the last year, they've received 3.1 billion electronic invoices from over 2.1 million suppliers. They mandated it. It was so it's a much easier ask. But the point I'm making is that those challenges can be addressed when we are in the right place to address those challenges. So I think the first step is for us to just establish the capability. And I think if we do that capability in unison, those levers and supports will be just much more effective. So the last question I said is why are we doing it? How is it going to help us? And what do our organizations need to do? Well, it can be relatively simple, and there's organizations we know just need to achieve basic compliance. They're not receiving big volumes of invoices. They probably don't expect suppliers knocking on their doors with or without a mandate. So there is a simple route to what you have to do to achieve basic compliance. But then if we look at the great example that Mary has demonstrated, and that's why we're really keen to have Mary here, it can be complex. It definitely needs a lot of planning if you want to get a more integrated solution, and you have a greater ambition for what you want to achieve from e-invoicing. So it does need a certain amount of consideration. You are going to encounter issues, but if you plan it through and think of involving all the right people and consider the processes, it's not rocket science, let's put it that way. But there are definitely issues to address. And I think in that regard, what I would direct you to is that material that's on the table. It's already on our website as well, which is the implementation pyramid. It's very high level. It's common sense, really. But I think if you follow through those steps, I think it probably reflects quite well what's been done in the Kildare situation, and hopefully what other let's say, functions we're working with are planning to go through those steps as well. So what I'd say then, the other thing is, yeah, our framework. Okay, so that is probably the best tool we have at the moment to help you achieve compliance, and if you're looking for additional benefits beyond compliance. So the framework is available. There's great guidance for it on our website and through the OGP support services. So that's where we would direct you. Think about your processes, look at the framework, see what it is you need from it, and look for help in accessing it. So in terms of next steps here, we know as I said, there's a mix of requirements, and there's a cohort that need to look and think about just achieving basic compliance. So we're having a breakout session in this room to inform people about the framework, and we'll walk through the different lots. There's 3 lots on the framework, but lot 3 is the one of most interest to the group here today. So we have one of our team is available to talk through how the framework works, what services are available, and how you might take the steps to draw down from it. And we also have 2 breakout sessions which we'll have upstairs. One is the yellow breakout, and that's for specifically focused for educational institutes or bodies, let's say, that have an interest in following an integrated e-invoicing solution path. So the yellow breakout session for education will be in the Latouche room, and then the other breakout is really for other public bodies who are also interested in an integrated solution and want to learn more about maybe the issues and the process around that. That's the blue breakout, and that's in the President's room upstairs. I think, sorry, more, yeah? And local government in the blue. Yeah, sorry about that, yeah. So I think that will last for maybe 15 minutes? 15, 20 minutes. So I suppose lunch will follow that, and I'll just close off by saying, look, really, really appreciate your attendance today. We're delighted with all the interest and the questions, and thank you very much.